Right, here we go then. Right, welcome to my show
Easy.
now. And coming up, we have a male musician from a band called Acrolysis. Is that how you say it? Acrolysis?
Acrolysis.
Right.
Yeah.
And this person is Kosta, who has a passion for music. Welcome to my show. Pleased to introduce you on an interactive live Zoom video call right now. How's life treating you today, Kosta, and where are you situated?
Currently I'm actually overseas with seeing extended family in Greece at the moment. Usually I'm in Australia, but I thought, you know, I guess things lined up, dropped a new record, and I was like, all right, I'm going to Greece for 6 weeks. See you guys later.
Very nice. What's the weather like? I bet
That's
it's
why my background's a
scorching.
bit. Oh, nice and warm. My body's still not used to the European sun, though. I'm still trying to get used to that. I mean, any sun for that matter, to be fair.
And can you tell me what was life like starting off in the band Acrolysis, if I can pronounce it right?
Oh yeah, no. Look, Acrolysis was I'll just start with sort of the what sort of got me started down the rabbit hole of playing in bands and specifically Acrolysis. I mean, I always had a particular, I guess, knack for music, but didn't really click as a young kid. Like, it was something you did in school, and it was like, oh yeah, it's fun and enjoyable, and had a little bit of a knack for it, but. I know it was something that you did, that everyone did, so it really didn't pay much attention to it. But I remember actually my older sister, only being 2 years separated in terms of age, coming into your teen years, she started listening to some very interesting things, and which piqued my fancy. So, you're getting into your getting your AC/DCs, Metallicas, Slipknots, all that fun jazz, and that sort of piqued my interest. And I was like, oh, what are you listening to? And then, she eventually bought an acoustic guitar. And I was like, oh, what's that? And so I started she taught me a few chords. I was like, all right, you're on your own, go have fun. And that was sort of the sort of light push. But I remember seeing AC/DC in 2010 for their Black Ice tour. And yeah, after that, I was like, yes, I'd like to do that. So that looks like a lot of fun.
And a bit of a
And then
backstory.
so like,
Yeah, a bit of a backstory
pardon?
there about the band. And so I was just going to ask her how did you come up with the band's name, Acrolysis?
Well, I remember when I was, I found the band members, found dudes that I liked playing with through, meeting them online and all the rest, and trying to come up with a band name. And always with band names, it's always very tricky. You get one shot at it, sort of.
Yeah. And
Um, so-
did your Greek kind of like background inspire the name as well?
well, it's very funny. So we were throwing around the names, and trying to throw names at each other, and things were like, yeah, it's okay, but we'll sit on it. We'll see how we feel about it tomorrow. And I remember, I had a medical journal, like a medical dictionary with me. I was just sort of flicking through trying to think of a name. And funnily enough, coming across two words, acro, which means intense or extreme. And then you have the term lyth or lysis, which means rupturing of a cell. And I was like, acrolysis, acrolysis, extreme rupturing or death of a cell. That's metal as fuck. And I was like, that's actually pretty cool. So like, because all medical words are Greek anyway, so that also helped out with my background. But I like the name just because it was it was unique, not too specific to anything.
Hmm.
It's not like a Cannibal Corpse, which is like an uber metal, like has a particular connotation when you hear a name like that. It was sort of just very ambiguous, which I sort of liked. So yeah,
And
flicking through a medical journal,
wow, it's
through a
fascinating.
medical dictionary, sorry.
How many people in the band then? I know this is a three piece. So you got yourself, Costa. Who else are the band members?
So you got myself, you've got the drummer Phil McDermott, Filthy Phil. It's a great name. And we have our the bassist Sebastian. So it's just a three piece of me doing vocals and guitar duties and drums and bass.
Cool. And you're busy promoting and plugging a new single called The Inevitable. I've had a little bit of a listen to it
Mm.
and describe it as a classic original rock jukebox record. So this must be an exciting time for you. How has it been received, hearing it on the playlists and the radio?
I mean, like it's always good. I mean, like look, because we're from Australia, it's always awesome to see, music that you create sort of in your own corner of the world, in your own little bubble, in Sydney, Australia, receiving any sort of radio play or feedback, or, you look at the analytics that are on Spotify and all those digital platforms and you see people playing it all across everywhere. And I'm always very appreciative and humbled by it because it's like, you know, just a bunch of, well, I won't say kids because we're getting older, but, in my mind, I'm still that, 18-year-old kid still in Sydney, playing guitar and trying to sing and do all that. So the fact that, people resonate with that stuff from wherever, it's always appreciated and very humbling and warm feeling.
Sure. And do you feel The Inevitable, your new single, really showcases the essence of the band?
Look, I think it's the inevitable for this single, I think was a good demonstration of. Well, it's very interesting because we did released our second record. That's what the inevitable was a part of, and we did released our first record 2 years ago, 3 years ago now. I feel like one of the sort of conscious ideas when we were writing the record and writing inevitable or across all the songs was one of the things was, all right, what we did on that first record, what we're going to try approach for the second record is just do either we'll do the ideas we have, but do more, push them more, extrapolate the ideas further, or we'll try to do some things that, okay, so we have this sound. Let's see what happens if we ask, like, basically, like, try combine it with something else or ask a what if, like, what if we did this? I think a song like The Inevitable is more of the former, where we try to refine and push the sound as far as we did on this time or further. Um, it is very group heavy, very riff heavy. So, and it's very a lot more refined, I'd say. So,
Yeah.
I think it is a very good encapsulation of that sort of side of that sort of thinking we're going in for the record.
Yeah. And The Inevitable, if I've done my homework correct, is track two, taken from your new album of the same name. And is there 10 tracks on this album, and what can your fans expect from it?
Yeah, no, it's track. Oh God, no, you putting me on the spot. I should know this. We just released it. I think it might be track 7. Yeah, let's go with track 7. Um, off track 10, of a 10-track album called Intoxicator. Um, sorry, hold on, just repeat the question again. I had a brain fart.
Yeah, so what can fans expect from this album?
Oh, from the album, yeah, no. Look, as I was stating before, I think it's on this record we really tried to either, as mentioned before, we either tried really taking what we did previously and trying to push and extrapolate the sound even further, or we tried to ask ourselves some questions or what if questions, like what if we did this? There are some, and especially with the latter, those what if questions were sort of either smaller versions of the question, a little smaller versions of that question, like, oh, what happens if in this part of the solo we did this? Some songs on the album are Intoxicator and Phase were big sort of conceptual what if questions. Like, I'll give you an example. With Intoxicator, that song came together by asking, well, actually, funnily enough, the seed of the idea, I was in a car with a friend of mine, and I am a big Elton John fan, funnily enough. And I was listening to, I think, Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting came on. Well, it's a great song. We're listening to it in the car, and I said to my mate, I'm like, you could really metal that up. Like, like get really distorted with it and it'd be really cool, like a really cool idea. And he's like, oh, you could do it. And I was like, huh. And so that sort of led into, so that sort of got the ball rolling and the gears turning in my brain. And I was like, well, what happens if you sort of took the idea of like having a piano? Because basically that song features a piano as its core central feature of the song. It has a piano solo. It's about close to 5 minutes. It's really incorporated in the song. It has an awesome piano solo in it, done by my friend Kosta, who's an amazing piano player. But the idea was, oh, okay, like, well, what happens if we do a song that has a piano that's very central to the song. It's not, just in the background playing those things, but really is incorporated, and we try not write it around, but try really make it as an equal piece of the song, like the guitars or the drums or the bass or the vocals. And so that began leading into sort of the whole idea of the song, and got my friend to actually play piano on it, because when we're conceptualizing the song, I can sort of program very rough keys, but I'm not a keys player. Like, I don't think like a keys player. So I was like, there's something missing. Maybe I'll speak to my friend, see if he can do it. And he listened to the song, was like, yeah, cool. Basically 3 months later, I'm like, hey man, like, how's the song? You happy? You don't hate? Like, you still want to do it? He's like, yeah, I'll send you something soon. And then that night, he's like, yeah, send it to you. So he sent me we sent him like a very rough demo of fine, like sort of not a demo, but pretty much the final arrangements and everything, how everything was going to see. And he laid his piano on top, and I was like, yeah, that's the song. All right, done.
Great. And
That was
a
pretty much
couple,
like a one take thing. So,
yeah, just a couple more to go. A couple of tracks I listened
mm,
to was Dead Man's Hand, which is an explosive,
mm,
high energy rock power anthem.
yes.
And did you enjoy making that one, putting that together?
That one was a lot of fun. Again, it was sort of back to the point I made before. It was sort of that was one of the songs that we're trying. Okay, let's not do what we did before, but look at what we did before and try push that sort of idea. So it's very fast, very motorheady. It's very thrashy, sort of those ideas. But we sort of tried refining the writing a little bit, tried incorporating some other elements that, maybe wouldn't have considered before. And interestingly, with that one, the lyrics were Phil's. It was the drummers, not mine.
I see.
So, because I remember that.
Where's best for people to follow you on like social media?
Look, we're on everything. We're on Facebook, Instagram, we got a YouTube where our songs are all available digitally on virtually every platform. So whatever your cup of tea is, really.
Yeah. And your new single, which is The Inevitable, is out now, and your new album, The Intoxicator, as well.
Yeah, Intoxicator's out now, all available, all digitally, everywhere. You know,
And
jump in,
Kosta,
enjoy.
just want to say thanks for joining me on today's show from the band Acrolysis. Acrolysis.
Acrolysis, that's the one.
Been great having you on.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you very
Cheers,
much,
man.
mate.
Nice chatting with you.